Welcome back, everybody. Developing a solid presence on social media, great way to get noticed both professionally and personally. But what to post, what not to post, and which platforms to use, it's less cut and dry.
Our next guest has made a career out of taking the guesswork out of social media and is here to help us maximize our online presence. Please welcome social media specialist Leslie Hughes.
I suppose, Leslie, this is very fitting because we are called The Social. We live on social media by and large. Let's discuss this. Not just public people have to worry about their digital presence. So why is it important for us to consider whomever we are, what we're posting on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram?
It's really important that we be mindful of what we're posting because what goes on the internet stays on the internet. And we never really think about the fact that everything we post online is going to be there for our great-great-great-grandchildren at one point to see. And so our digital identity is really important. It's a footprint that we're creating for history.
Now, it feels like every 2 seconds there's a new sort of social media tool coming out. And if you're looking to build your online brand, as it were, should you immediately be testing all of these things out? Or should you sort of stick with the social media tools that you're really comfortable with?
I think that's a really great question. And originally, I would say sort of stay with what you're comfortable with and really own that channel, especially for a business. You want to fish where the fish are. Yeah. You want to stay where your target audience is. You can dabble if you feel a little more comfortable, but not every business is going to feel comfortable sort of being on a new channel. It's really important to stay focused from a business perspective on developing that community in one particular hub.
But how do you tell if you're doing your social media well? Is it by the number of likes you get, the comments you get? What's the measure for success?
I think it really is important to measure engagement. Engagement is and also if you own a business, it's really about people buying your stuff. So we talked a little bit about, a lot of people will ask me about likes. Is likes the number one thing that you should be looking for? But I really don't think that that's important. I think what's important is really getting engagement because social media is word of mouth on steroids, and building a community of people who can act as your unpaid sales force is really important.
Well, you talked about getting likes and engagement. I've heard that there's like a social media happy hour for different social media platforms. So, for example, someone told me that on Instagram, posting like between 1 and 4 is guaranteed to generate the most likes or engagement. Is there a happy hour for Twitter, Instagram, and like Facebook?
There are a lot of statistics that will tell you the best times, and every business is going to have a different best time. Intuitively, we know that Facebook is a really great channel to post on in downtime because we connect with friends and family on Facebook. And so the best time is usually in our downtime, after work, on the weekends. Twitter, you have to be posting 4 to 21 times a day in order to build up a following on there.
Wow.
On the business channel like LinkedIn, you want to be posting probably before the workday, between 7 and 9 in the morning, when people are sitting down or on the train going to work, getting that business stuff out of the way first.
Oh, that's good. That's why everything's linked. I just blast them all at once. Okay. Let's talk about this fine line of trying to maintain your personal and your very public life as well. And again, not just for people who are in a public job, because we have to draw the line as to what we're posting, what we choose to keep quiet, especially people like children as well. So what is your policy on where we draw those boundaries?
And this is something that I've dealt with personally. In 2010, I had my own digital identity stolen, where someone went online, pretended to be me, went onto a competitor's site and wrote, "Dear Anne, you're nothing but a hack and a money-grubbing pig, signed Leslie Hughes." And within 8 hours, 40 people had responded to say, "What kind of a business owner are you? And you're a horrible human being." And from that perspective, not only was my business brand affected by that, but I recognized how much of a digital footprint I had been creating for myself and for my son, who at the time was only 3. So, if I post my son's picture and our dog's name and the school that he goes to, could he be susceptible to someone who wanted to hurt me? Could they show up at my son's school and say, "Hey, I know your mom and I know your dog's name"? So, at the same time, the children that are being raised now are creating digital footprints for themselves. And so I'm very mindful of teaching my son, who has his own YouTube channel, about the consequences of posting online.
Adorable.
and so he wants lots of views on his channel. But I'm also very mindful of saying to him, be really, really careful about not posting your name, where you live, what school you go to. So there is a fine balance between those things, because we have to think about, as parents, we want to protect our children. At the same time, we want to empower them to use the tools properly.
Yeah, this is a big topic in my house with my daughter, for sure. Okay, let's ask the big question. You're about to post something, or maybe you're about to post something that you're like, I don't know if I should. Is there a checklist, a line of questions you should ask yourself before hitting post?
Absolutely. I mean,
have I been drinking? Right, check that box.
That's number one, Molly. That's number one.
Definitely. Well, to that point, what goes on the internet stays on the internet. So you want to say to yourself, would I feel comfortable seeing this on a billboard?
Oh, wow. Oh, my whole life just went before my very eyes. Okay, if you're focused on building a brand for yourself, is it a cardinal sin to post something on social media that might be considered off-brand? Like, let's take Martha Stewart, who is constantly posting Instagrams of her, like, perfectly organized home. What if Martha Stewart, posted an image of her living room that, oh my gosh, had, like, throw cushions on the floor and dog hair everywhere? Would that be off-brand for her? There's part of me that thinks that would be okay because it really did happen, and she's presenting a sort of side of her authentic self.
Authenticity is so very important. And so I think for Martha Stewart's target audience, if anybody saw behind the scenes, if she had a messy house, then people wouldn't, the authenticity part is an important part of it. But it's also your target audience. Are they going to embrace that? There are people that are very successful out there that have like blue hair, and that's great for their target audience because people can sort of feel like that's aspirational for them to deal with that particular presence. And Lainey is a great example of someone who is transformed her brand because she's very authentic about what she does. And I've been a follower for a long time of Lainey's as a result. And it's because you've been using social media authentically, and people love you for that authenticity. So I think that's a big that's the answer to that question is as long as it's authentic, I think it's important.
Well, speaking of authentic, I've heard that there are people who buy followers on social media. And to be honest, I consider it cheating. I feel like you should grow an audience organically, but they might argue that this is just a business tactic. I need to grow followers to build a profile. Do you think it's ever okay to buy followers?
I personally don't.
Okay.
Like you, I believe in organic development of growth because those people who are buying followers, let's face it, it's a bit of an ego boost to have a lot of followers, but if they're not authentic and no one's buying your stuff, if no one's retweeting or resharing your information, then what's the point? Absolutely. It looks good from a number standpoint, but it's really not driving traffic. It's not driving engagement.
Yeah, I think it's fraudulent.
Yeah.
Social platforms are always coming and going. What do you think is going to be around in the next 5 to 10 years? What has the staying power? What's it going to be?
With Facebook, I think the number is now over 1.53 billion people on Facebook. That's certainly not going away. They own Instagram. Facebook owns Oculus Rift, and we're going to see more virtual reality things coming down and augmented reality where computers are now learning the context in which the information we're sharing. So, really question mark, really exclamation mark, and really, the computers are going to understand the context of that language. Facebook's investing a lot in this. So I still think Facebook's going to have its staying power, but we never know what's going to come up tomorrow. There's always a new channel that's coming out of the woodwork, so we never know.
Which means we know this is not the last time we're going to see you here. But Leslie, thank you so much for this. Yeah, food for thought before you post next time. We'll be right back after this.